Happy birthday, Darreon. Happy birthday, Darreon. Happy birthday to you. I just want to say happy birthday on May 6th to my beautiful, handsome son, Darreon. So, Darreon, I just want to let you know I am talking to you. This video is for you, my son, Darreon. So, I named you, by the way. I was excited the fact that you were my first baby boy, and I love my name, Ziana, and I was with your dad, Darius, and put it together. We got Darreon. Your middle name is something that him and I put together as well. And your last name, of course, is his last name because he was there when you were born. So that is awesome news because I appreciate those moments when you were born. And once you know, I'm going to post the pictures, I'm going to post proof, I'm going to post whatever you need in this video. I just want to say to all who is watching as well, thank you for tuning in to It Is What It Is podcast this morning. And today's topic is my son. Now, ever since I've ever heard of this song called My Son by Kwani Cash, I have stuck with this, and this has been the anthem of what I deal with while I miss you, my son. So I just want to say before I get started, the reason why I'm making this video is because whenever you decide that you want to speak to me, hear from me, love me, hug me, whatever, I'm here. I love you no matter what's going on. Little do you know, sir. Hopefully you're not 20 years old seeing this. However, I'm making this specifically for you, and I'm going to try my best to keep my emotions down because I have been emotional for how long it's been? 8 years. I have been out of your life for 8 years, and this is just traumatic for me. Why am I smiling? I smile to keep from crying. So let's get started. I just want to start back and say, keep going with, I want to start back from the beginning. So you were born in 2014, May 6th. I want to say before I begin, anyone listening to this, please understand that everything that I'm saying is facts. I will not be in trouble for anything that I'm saying because if anyone has anything to say, you can leave a comment or let me know how you feel, wherever, however, in person. But I just want to say everything that I'm saying is facts. Everything that you don't know, you know now. I will make this the last time I speak about this situation because moving forward, all I know now as of today, 2025, May 6th, that I have to wait. I have to wait for my son, Darreon, to be ready to see me, to be ready to love me, to ready to be loved by his family, by your biological mother, by your biological grandmother and grandfather and your sister that you're missing out on for years because of the parents that you're with now. Literally. Let's get started. Trigger warning. 2014, May 6th, you were born. I was excited because you were my first. Like I said, I'm so grateful that I became a mother. I was also a mother before Mother's Day. And I was excited about that because I was able to tap into being a mom before Mother's Day to make it to Mother's Day. And I had, I don't remember if it was a good time or not. However, I do remember that your Nana, which is my mom, was in the hospital on her birthday, which is the 5th, yesterday. On your birthday, well, in the hospital with me to wait for you to be born. So you were born in the morning. I believe it was 10:07 a.m. And she was there all day on her birthday waiting to see you until May 6th. So that was a special moment for me for having my mom there. You know, your dad was there. You know, it was just a really good time. And you came out 100% healthy. Oh my God. Like when I tell you, you were such a handsome little boy. And you still are. So I was grateful of that because, you know, you got your mama jeans and stuff. So I feel like we look alike. We smile alike, the same color. You know, you look just like your sister. It's hilarious. Things that I really wish that you can grasp and enjoy as well, because you can still enjoy your family over there and your family over here. So, moving forward, let's get started. After you were born, I just want you to know that I was in a bad situation with your father. You know, him and I were not compatible. Him and I were going through very, very tough times. You know, I went to jail. He went to jail. Everybody in the household went to jail. And you went with my mom, my mother. My mother took you in because him and I were still on some stupid things. We were not mature. And that is not your fault. So instead of putting you through those things, we put you in a safe environment until we were out of the bad situation. And then we can bring you back to a good situation. That's what anybody who's smart enough would do. Just saying. And I'm just going to go down the timeline. So the May of 2014 until November 2014, I have been planning to escape. The word I'm using, I want you to hear me clearly. I escaped your father. I had to leave unexpectedly. He didn't know where I was for 2 months, or you for 2 months. I took you, all of our stuff, and moved away November 2014 into my first apartment by myself, without a man, without anybody else, without my mom, just you and I. I had my own room. You had your own room. You had a crib. You also had a bed from when you grew up. You got into the bed. You had your own toy section. You had a TV, dressers, clothes. You had everything you needed. And I had my room. I had everything I needed. There was nobody else living with us. So the time is going by, you know, I'm with you. Everything is good. There's no issues. I got you in daycare. The only problem was you missed me so much because I worked so hard. I was the only person taking care of you. My mom moved to the islands, which is the Virgin Islands, out of the country. So I didn't have a mom to fall back on. I didn't have a mom to live with if anything went wrong. I was by myself. Okay? All of 2015, before November 2015, I was going to school and I was working at the same time. Unfortunately for you, you were in camp the whole time. So when I went to work from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock, I went to school from 6:30 to 10 o'clock at night every day. You would be in camp from 7 until 10:30, almost 11 o'clock every day. So when I picked you up, you were sad because you were like, damn, I missed you all day and I love you. And every single time that I did not go to school or work was on the weekends, and I had you with me all the time. I never dropped you off places. You were with me. Only time I ever had to drop you off somewhere is when I had to go to work. And why did I start doing that? Let me explain. Because I could have kept you in daycare, but why did I start to bring you over to my brother's house? Why did I start to leave you with a new daycare center? Why did I eventually start leaving you with your father? Okay, so 2015 in the summertime, your father found out where I lived. So it took him a while to figure out where we lived, and then he ended up moving in the same neighborhood and developing a girlfriend that I didn't know he had, which is your stepmother, Charlene. And I was really confused because, you know, I understand that I escaped him. I was fine with whoever he dated. Cool. But I think I was confused that he never told me why. Like, why keep that from me? If you don't want me, and I don't want you, then, and my son is involved, our son is involved, why not let me know that you have brought someone else into the picture? So that way I can understand that I can see who's around my son. I can understand what's happening around me. I don't like being the unknown. So in the summertime, when he found out where we lived, I, was very upset because he was homeless. So when he was homeless, he sat on my stairs almost every night, begging to stay in the house with us, begging to take you instead of me take you to camp. And I said, no, you're not taking your son. Because if you take your son, then where are you going? You're going to be sitting outside in the hot all day with him? No, he needs to go to camp. As a matter of fact, he eats there. He gets AC. So what are you going to do? You don't have a job. He was homeless. Homeless. When I escaped your dad, I escaped our place that we had together with a roommate and with all these other dudes and all these other females that he was cheating on me with. Okay. I moved from there and took you with me, and we got our own space and we were in peace from all the drugs and all the bad situations that we dealt with, including your father. So I just want you to know that when he was outside being homeless, I wasn't mad at him or anything. I wasn't judging him. I wanted to help him. I told him, hey, if you pay me $500, you can stay with us. So what did he do? He ended up getting a job at McDonald's right up the street on Duck Road. And he paid me $500 to stay with us. And I was like, wow, that helped. That helped so much because I needed help. I was by myself. Again, I did everything. So that $500 was helping me to a point where I was able to grab me a car. Now we have a car. So now we riding around, everything good, we good. And, or no, I think I actually got my car fixed. I had a car already. I got it fixed. And I was grateful about that because, I got the car, but it wasn't reliable. But when I took that money, I made it reliable. That car was moving, okay? It was super cute. It was a green, beautiful car. And I just remember when he got the job and everything like that, we weren't dating. So I never gave him the impression that we were together. Mother's Day came up. He tried to take me out for Mother's Day. And I said no, because I wanted to spend time with you, Darreon, my son, only because I'm celebrating being a mother. But I don't have to be taken care of by your dad. No, I don't want anything to do with with someone who I'm escaping from. Like, I just was helping you. I'm not trying to be with you. So as I'm trying to help him, he decided to propose to me. And because I said no, he got upset. He put his hands on me, and I called the police for the first time. And I've been had my hands put on by this person, but this is the first time I called the police because this is now my place. And I didn't allow him to come in to be with me. I allowed him to come in to be off the streets and to be around his son. Right? Okay. So meanwhile, while I'm over here trying my best to be super calm, cool, and collective with your father, I'm loving you at the same time. I'm loving you, making sure you're good. We're connecting with other people. We're going out places together. And we're not together, but we're just a family. And that was fine. I loved it because at the end of the day, it made me feel like even though I'm not with this dad anymore, we could still be cool for our son. And I loved it. He was doing good up until Mother's Day. Now, I didn't want him to take me out. But instead, after the fact, one of our mutual friends was going to the park. So we ended up going to the park, celebrating Mother's Day, da-da-da-da-da. As a matter of fact, I think it was Father's Day we were celebrating because I didn't want to hang out with him for Mother's Day. So Father's Day came around and he's like, oh yeah, we're doing this. So I was like, sure. Cookout, we ate, and another couple with their son, us and you, were all at my house playing. While we're playing, Darreon, you're the only one crying. You're the only one crying, and you were crying so hard. I was like, oh my God, let me just see what's going on. So I picked you up, and you were hot. Like, not hot, like, and then calm down. No, you were hot everywhere. Like, you were burning up. So I was like, whoa, let me take your temperature. So I put you in your room on your bed, and I said, hold on, baby, let me get something to check your temperature. Now, you're too young to understand what I'm saying, but I'm still telling you because that's how you teach. That's how you talk. You talk to your kid. You let them know what's going on. So eventually even if you might know what's going on, I don't know that, you're a baby. You might just secretly be super smart. However, I said, baby boy, I will be right back. I'm going to grab a thermometer to go check your temperature. While you were crying, I said, hey, come ask your dad to come watch you. While I went, because you were crying hysterically, like it was just like you were in pain. I don't know. So I went to go hurry up and find it, grabbed it. But before I walked out of that room, I made sure he was in there with you first, because I didn't know what you were going to do. You were barely even 2 yet. You were still 1 year old. So I said, hey, I'm going to need you to, watch him while I go look for this temperature. And something in me, I don't know what it was, made me turn right back around to go look into the room. And when I turned around and looked back into the room, Darreon, I saw your father slap you in the face. And I said, whoa, hold on. Why'd you do that? He said, do what? And I said, why did you slap him in the face? He said, because he wasn't listening to me when I told him to stop crying. I said, he's 1 year old. And he said, yeah, but I didn't slap him hard. I said, yes, you did. I just saw you just slap him in the face. And on top of that, not only was the slap not soft enough to make you cry, to stop crying, it was hard enough to make you cry some more. So I heard it. I was like, hold on. So I went and grabbed you, Darreon, and took you with me in my arms, and then put the thermometer in. Went and looked for it and put it in, and you had a fever. I took you to the doctor, and at that point, they were like, hey, yeah, he was having a fever. I'm glad you took him. Guess who was the only one there? Me. I was the only one there with you. I took you back home. And then when we got home, he was at home waiting on me. And I'm just not with it. I was not with it. I was upset. And, that's when he proposed. He proposed, and then I said no. He put his hands on me, and I called the police, and he got out. Now, I thought he got out, but he didn't get out. Why? Because he was there the next day. He had a key. The police told him that he had 30 days to be evicted. And also in the process of why he wasn't arrested when I called was because all of the abuse he done to me wasn't something that could be visual. So everything was by the stomach, by the chest, by the arms. He never hit me in the face or somewhere visible. So the police officer said, well, we can't see anything on you, so there's nothing we can do. He's allowed 30 days before he is evicted. So in those 30 days, I made sure that he was very uncomfortable. Why? Because when he had to go to work, I was making sure that you were good in the bed sleep. And I was in the front room, and I was hanging out with some people. And he came home and spazzed out because he's like, this is my home too. I'm like, no, it's not, sir. This is our home, me and Darreon's home. But because you needed somewhere to stay, I let you stay here, but you need to leave. And from there, now you are awake, and now you're crying because him and I are arguing. And he proceeds to try to get me. So I run into my room, lock the door. He busts through the door. I went into my closet. He busts through the door. Well, he's busting through the door. And then eventually he stops. So I hurry up, and I put my jacket on, and I just put my shoes on. I look at you before I leave, and you're in the crib crying. And I just hugged you and gave you a kiss and said, I love you. I'll be back. And I ran out the house. I don't know where he was. I think he went downstairs because I lived in a building full of men, and all the men were gravitating to his behavior and thought it was funny. The way he was abusing me, he thought it was funny. So I hurried up and ran out the back and ran all the way upstairs across the street into the other building in the apartments. And I watched him walk around calling my name, looking for me to do I don't know what, while you're in the house crying. Because I felt unsafe. Like I was going to die. I don't know what was going to happen to me in my own apartment. And for whatever reason that night, he just disappeared. He didn't come back. I locked the door. He wasn't able to get in. So from that point on, I recorded. I put the phone down and recorded, and he couldn't get in the front door. So he crawled out of the window, hopped onto the roof, and broke into the side door just to yell at me and say, "You got my son in here crying." And I'm like, "No, I don't. You do." Everything was fine until you did that. You did that. Just because I don't want to be with you anymore, you're causing hell around our son, and you're blaming me. I didn't do anything to you. Okay. So eventually he leaves, and I don't see him for a very long time until one day I still keep seeing him. I still keep seeing him. I still keep seeing he's still in the neighborhood, but he's now befriended the people that live downstairs, the guys. So he's like, "Oh, let me get my son today." And I was just like, "No." And he was just like, "Come on, I'm with my homie. He can kick it with us today while you at work." And I said, "No, he has to go to daycare." And he's like, "No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't." I said, "Yes, he does. Like, my son needs to be able to learn and be okay instead of being outside." He said, "One day is not going to hurt." All right. So I gave you, Darreon, to your dad. I gave you a sippy cup, snacks, pull-ups, whatever you needed, a bag for your dad. And when I got off of work, he met me up at my job. I worked at Racetrack. And when I tell you, when he let me get you from the car or truck that you were in, you were covered. You, Darreon, I swear to God, you were covered in crumbs. You were covered in like sticky stuff. You had chips all over you, your hair, your clothes, everything. When he put you off that seatbelt and I picked you up, it was chips falling off of you all on the floor. It was trash everywhere in that truck. And it wasn't Darius's, it wasn't mine, it wasn't yours, it was his homies. And that's how dirty you were living with that day. And I literally was like, "Oh my God, I'm never doing this again." And at that point, I stopped giving you to your dad until he got himself together. So before he got himself together, I decided to take him to court. So when I went to court, I went for child support. Child support is what gives me money to take care of you for him being absent. So that way I would have extra money from him, so that way you would have more. I could work less, so I would be with you more. That was the goal. Because if you weren't going to be here, I'm going to stop working so hard so you can pay me to be with him more. That's the purpose of what I was trying to do. However, when I went by the time I filed, I got him served, I did everything I was supposed to do. 2 months go by, we go to court. And the court office is like, "Hey, it seems like, Darius is doing a great job. He has a job now. He's working at McDonald's. He has his own place." I was like, "Whoa, his own place?" I'm like oblivious to everything. I'm like, "Okay, he's stepping up." Now, even though this person has abused me, even though I've escaped this person, even though I despised this person, even though I watched this person abuse my own son, I was still proud that he's making changes for himself so he can be in his child's life. Not mine, his son. Now, you. And when we were leaving that courthouse, the judge said, "Hey, it seems like he's doing a great job. What about joint custody?" Now, this was my option. I could have said no. I could have said, "No, give me child support." Or, you know what? Since he is doing better, let's just stop this altogether. No, I decided to say, "Well, you know what? Joint custody sounds great." Why? Because that gives me a week with you and a week with him, which means that I get to have you for a week. And then when you're ready to spend time with your dad, you get to be with him for a week. And we exchange every Sunday. That was nice. I was cool with that because that gives you a chance to be with your dad. He gets a chance to be with you and vice versa. Because I was the only one doing everything, and it was very hard for me because understand that you're not an adult. So until you're an adult, you would never understand what it's like to juggle bills, have a child, and be young minded as well. I was not prepared, but that's what happens when you have a kid. When you grow up unprepared and you have a kid like you're prepared, the results show that you're unprepared. I was not an unfit parent. I was an unprepared parent because I gave birth to a son not thinking that I was not going to be in a family. I didn't think I was going to be a single parent. But because I did not love your father anymore, I became a single parent. Why? Because I was tired of the abuse. I didn't want you growing up seeing me getting beat up for no reason. So, like I said, that's another story for another time, and that has nothing to do with you. I'm only bringing it up because it's a simple fact of exactly why you were only with me at one point. Okay? Now, after that, I want you to know that when he decided he wanted to get this place in our neighborhood, got a job right across the street from where we lived. Everything was great. Now, once we were leaving that courtroom, he turned and looked at me and said, I plan to ruin your life just for doing this shit. And I looked at him and I was just like, we'll see. What's today? May 6th, 2025. And yeah, life is ruined. Good job, Darius. Anyway, so I was able to go see his place, and I furnished majority of your room because it was his room that you were going to be staying in there while you were with him for the week until you came back home to me, which was literally across the street, up the street. We lived in the same neighborhood. So I gave him a bed. I gave him, so that big bed that I had in the room, that your bed instead of your crib, I gave him that so that way you both can sleep in that. He didn't have anything, so it is what it is. I was just very open to the fact that now that we're doing joint custody together, I'm not looking for money from him. It wasn't money. It was the fact that he was not present. That was making me upset. So now that I realized that we're going to do this, like co-parenting, whatever this is, we started to get a lot better with communication. I would drop him off. He would look at me like he still loved me, and I just wasn't with it. But it was like, I was happy that we were okay. Finally, even though the circumstances, I was happy that we were okay for you, And I didn't know he had a girlfriend or a potential someone this whole time. I didn't know this. And one day, I think it was like a Friday night, I allowed you, of course, to go stay with your dad. And this wasn't the week that he was supposed to be you were supposed to be with him. But he knew that I wanted to go out. So I went out with my friends and you stayed with him. When I came to pick him up, he allowed me to lay in the bed next to you, and you were next to him. So you were in the between us, and we were just talking while you were asleep. All of a sudden, the light switches on, and here comes your stepmother, Charlene, cussing me the hell out. I've never met this woman in my life. Never knew who she was. And this is the first time meeting her because your dad never told me anything. Why does he need to tell me anything? This is why. Not because I'm jealous, not because I want him, not because of anything of that nature. It was the fact that I wanted to know because I wouldn't have been in that bed. I'm respectful. If this man was in a relationship, I wouldn't even been in the room. I would have got you and left, or left you because he said it was fine that I let you sleep right there and I come get you in the morning. He said that was fine. So no, she comes in, flips on the lights, and starts cussing me out. What the hell? And what are you doing here? And I'm like, yo, chill. My son is asleep. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you and your son. All of this stuff. This is what she's saying. And I just walk up and leave because there's nothing I could do about that. That's something your dad has to handle, not me. So I waited until he brought you back over the next day. Now, when he brought you over the next day, I see her. And she's tormenting. Okay. Good for you. Like, I don't know. Then the following day, now she's recording me outside my job. The following day, she's leaving raw meat, chicken meat. When I went to work, somehow away, she's stalking me now. And she put raw meat in a trash bag on my doorstep. So by the time I come home, it smells so fucking bad. It smelled like somebody died. And everybody's walking around like, complaining. And low key, here we go, it's me. And I go upstairs and she left that on my doorstep, laughing at me. calling me, texting me, all of this stuff. That's why I'm going to take your son from you. All of this. And I'm like, yo, like, chill, girl. Like, you really tripping. And I got on to Darius. I'm like, hey, you need to check her. He was like, okay, no problem. She's a little crazy, but it's okay. So it calmed down. I don't know what happened, what he said, but it calmed down to the point where now that now he's living over there, I said, hey, I need you to start helping me with daycare. Now that you're working, I need you to help me with daycare, because even though you keep him for a week, you don't take him to daycare. So now because you're doing that, now the price is rising up and the fees rising up because no one's taking him. So now the price is at $179 that I don't have, because my budget is to take care of my son. My budget is to take care of the bills that I pay by myself. Not a roommate like he had, not a girlfriend like he had. I was by myself. I didn't get child support, as you can see, because we did joint custody because it was my choice. Because it wasn't money. I needed help. I didn't need help for you to keep him for a week and then not pay any daycare. So because of that, I lost daycare. And because I lost daycare, I lost my job because I didn't have anybody to take care of you. Because the times when I needed you to take care of your son, Darius, you didn't want to. Or your girlfriend at the time said, no, this is not your week. You're not so responsible for your son. So you're telling him to make sure that he's not responsible for his son, when at the end of the day, that's his son. You're responsible every day. I'm responsible every day. I don't have a daycare. I now don't have a job. But guess what I do have? I have faith in God, because I kept going. I had savings. I made sure that I did what I could. So now we're in October, and guess what? My beautiful car that I spent my money on, that I my hard-earned money on, I had to sell to pay rent. And guess what? I stayed here for a full year, paid everything on time. Everything. Up until the last month's rent, which was November 2015, and I was evicted because I could not afford it. I already paid rent the last month with my car. I tried to get a loan, only got $200. I was going through so much. And your father was absolutely no help, even though he was in your life, right? So in that process of me knowing I'm getting evicted, my mom is not here anymore. She's in the Virgin Islands. I had nowhere to go. So your great-grandmother, Darla, she came into town, which was in November, which is my last month's lease of rent in 2015, for Thanksgiving. And we migrated over to Alpharetta, to your cousin Gina's house. And when I was there, my grandmother knew my situation and told my cousin and said, hey, your little cousin needs your help. And she was like, oh my God, you and Darreon are homeless? What? I was like, I didn't want nobody to know. I was trying to figure this out. And she was like, come live with me. Come with me. I said, okay. And I cried, thank you. So when I got home, I was not prepared to move over there yet, because it cost me some money. So first things first, I ended up moving over. I ended up saying, hey, Darius, I am getting evicted. I need you to please get your son. I need to figure this out while he's with you. And then when I get myself together, he can just go back on schedule with me. He said, okay, I'm sorry to hear that's going on with you. This is all text messages. Again, I have these text messages. I have proof of everything that you ever want and need. Darreon, whatever you need and want, I have proof. And I'm telling you right now, these are facts. This is what it is. And I'm getting it out on your 11th birthday. So because now that I feel like you keep saying to me you're not a baby anymore. Well, here, I want you to hear exactly what has happened and why we're not together today. Let me keep going. All right. So not only did I give him your car seat, your WIC, I gave him your social, I gave him pretty much everything he may have needed for you at that moment. And when I did, guess where he lived at that time? He ended up not even living in the back of the neighborhood no more. He moved in with your stepmother. So he moved out of living in his own room for you to move in with a female and her kids in her house with you. Now she has all control because that's her house. So I never knew where you lived for a very long time, but she didn't want me to know that, of course. Why would I not want to know where my son is now living? But she never let me know. So whatever. I still kept going. I got myself in Alpharetta. I was excited. I was able to get you there. And I was happy because you were with me for a week. You were with them for a week. And then you were with me for a week. It was just awesome. Like, we had a fish tank. I got you some fish. We shared a room together, but we had a big room, our own bathroom. My cousin Gina made sure that you and I were good. I worked 4 jobs to take care of us. But one thing I can say is, even though you were in daycare, I still made sure that you were with your dad. I still made sure that you went to daycare. I still made sure you ate, fed, had good clothes, because I worked in the mall. Definitely knew I had discounts. I bought you clothes all the time. I potty trained you. I did all of this by myself. I potty trained you. And guess what? While those weeks that I didn't have you, I was doing me. Living my life, because why? It's my life. If you get on this on your phone and sit there and play Roblox all day, that's your life, isn't it? That's what you like to do, right? All right. Well, guess what? I decided I wanted to go and hang out with my friends, like my best friend, Cece. I don't know if you remember her, but I have pictures with you too. Pictures with her. She was there for every birthday that I ever could do for you. She was there for every moment. A lot of my friends were. And those are the people I went to hang with. So one day I hung out with someone new, and I ended up being in a relationship with this person and becoming pregnant with Reona, your sister. And I just want to say that even though I wasn't in the best situation, I was young. I was young. I was only 21 years old, and I was trying to make a living for my family. And then I met someone who was trying to make a living for me too, who loved me and you. He loved you too. He probably still does. His whole family loves you. As a matter of fact, because I became pregnant, I had to leave my cousin's house and moved in with the person with Rihanna's dad and her family. And you were there too. So the week I had you, you were with me over there. The week I didn't have you, you weren't with me, but I was pregnant with your sister. Going through all of this stuff, because why? I still don't have my own place. I'm still floating different places, place to place, place to place, because I didn't know. I'm going through a lot. At the end of the day, I'm telling you, I made some mistakes. I definitely wish that, even though I was getting evicted, I was going through all of this stuff, I got pregnant, all that, I wish I still had you with me, because I've realized, even with Rihanna, that I can struggle and still keep my child. She didn't judge me. She still loves me to this day, because guess what? The only thing I didn't do was not give her to her dad when I was going through it. She would have rather seen me struggle just because she was with me at the end of the day. It didn't matter. And I never realized that until I did it to you. Because the aftermath of me giving you to your dad resulted back to me never having you again. And that shit bothers me every single day. Every single day. You don't know that. All right, so now we're in 2016, because your daughter, your sister's now born. She was born in 2016. And now 2017, because she was born in the 31st of December. So she was born at the very end of the year. Now, when she was born, you are now turning 4. And I'm sorry, you are now turning 2, 3, 4. Like, you were about to turn 3, or you're about to turn 4. I can't really remember. Or you were 3, about to, something like that. And I said to you, your little sister's here. in the car. And you were so happy. You picked her up. You hugged her. You were laughing with her. But when I tell you the time that I seen you that day, I will never forget this day. It was in June. It was after your birthday. Because of some reason, like, because I couldn't see you. I couldn't see you for a long time. And I'm like, whoa, like, I need to see my son. So all of from when she was born, December 31st, all the way up until June that year, I didn't see you. So that was the first time, that was the longest I went without seeing you. And why? Because when I had Reona, I was going through it bad. I ended up going home. I ended up going to Riverdale after having her, living in one room while the whole house smelled like cigarettes. So I sanitized this one room. I was kicked out of that place because not only was my living situation not a good situation, even though it was family, I was kicked out because that person just didn't want me there anymore. It wasn't like I paid. I gave her food stamps. I paid my way. Reona didn't cry, nothing. I slept, I took care of my baby, I breastfed, I did everything. My friends can vouch for me. That's facts, bro. I got kicked out for absolutely no reason with an infant. So when I was kicked out for no reason, I moved over to your grandmother, Nana, her family. I moved in with them. So when I moved in with them, they were like, oh, thanks, I'm paying her. And not only that, I was working all the way in Kennesaw. That was a 45-minute drive every day. I had to leave to that place at 5 o'clock, take you to camp, then go to work. And I had to be there by 8 o'clock. And I would get there at 7. And I would be so tired, I would wake up late for work. To the point where it was just like, it was like a routine. And I didn't know what else to do. So I just kept going. And one day I got fired because of that. I was sleeping on the desk. Like, I was so tired. And when I got fired, I went home and I was just like, wow, like, I don't know what else to do, but I'm just going to keep going. So thank God I had another job, which was, I had the car. So I was doing, Lyft and stuff. And all of a sudden, she came out of nowhere, even though I was paying her too. She said, hey, I'm used to my house just being just me. So I think you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do. And I said, well, I'm like, this is kind of sudden, can I have some time? She was just like, I think it's best that you figure out what you need to do at the end of the day. I put this on my dead grandmother. I put this on my living mother. I put this on your life, Darreon, that I was kicked out twice for no reason. So what did I do? I went to the shelter. I went to the shelter home, and the Shelter Must Ministries on Cobb Parkway took me and Reona in, and I'm bathing her in a bucket of water while there's men in this place, while I'm in a room with 4 different ladies, while she's with me in this bed, this metal bed by ourselves for 30 days. This is why I couldn't be with you. This is why, because people have been hurting me in the process of me trying to build to be better for you while having her. Be a better person, so it wasn't easy to just be like, oh, you know what, let me just go get my son and have you deal with this. I didn't want you a part of this, but I brought her into it anyway, and she had to deal with it. So I'm sorry for being emotional, but I was very, very, very disappointed in myself because I felt like I let both of y'all down at the end of the day. I let myself down because I was let down, from the very beginning, starting with the abuser. Then I let myself down because I went to court thinking that the court was going to help, but it didn't. Now it made it worse where I'm obligated because I can't get you this week. I am now violating this court order. So now I am now held for held contempt for court, which means that when I was in the homeless stage, I didn't have nowhere to go, I had no address. Your father put in the system that I was violating, that I'm not trying to be here, when I'm telling him what's going on. I'm texting him trying to tell him what's going on, and your stepmother is, oh well, you're still going down, we don't give about you, you ain't nothing. I couldn't do anything. So I decided to go ahead and I still had my car, but I ended up getting a job. I still kept going to work while I was at Must Ministries. They just allowed me to stay there for free. So when I finally was able to save enough money to get a place, we moved into this place. And guess what happened? This place that we moved into was someone else's place, and I didn't know that. And they were being evicted. So they had an eviction notice come to the door in their name while we were there. And I had to move out immediately. I moved all of our stuff in just to move out immediately. I don't remember sleeping in that place more than 4 days. And as a matter of fact, that same place that I'm talking about, we lived in the same neighborhood, in the same building under from my brother. And I have pictures to prove it. I distinctly remember packing up that U-Haul truck. I distinctly remember unpacking it in a matter of the same week. So then I get a wonderful job. I get a great job. And by the time I get this great job, I'm like, well, okay, now that everything seems like it's going good, I finally got my place again. I still got my car. Everything sounds good, right? And then what happens after that? Oh, guess what? I go to see you. I go to see you. I just said bump it. I don't know. I just did my research, find out where you were, and I pulled up and you saw your sister and you were excited and she was little and y'all were cool. And before I left, I want you to know that you were in this house by yourself with 2 other kids. The oldest was 8 years old and you were 4. You were the youngest in the house and you was only kids while your stepmother went to work all day and your father went to work all day. Y'all were in the house by yourselves every day. So that's one way you could save on daycare, but that's so super unsafe. Anything can happen to you, especially in that neighborhood. That neighborhood was very ghetto and ratchet. Anything could happen to you. So before I pulled off, because I was secretly coming there, nobody knew I knew where you lived. Nobody knew anything. Your stepmother didn't know I knew where you lived. So I finally figured it out years later when I got Reona. And I came and knocked on the door, and your older sister, which is your stepsister, answered the door. And she called you and you came out and you were happy to see me. But now when it was time to leave, because I was on a short time, because if your stepmother saw me there, it would have been problems, right? So when it was time for me to leave, I brought you a bag with all of this stuff, everything. Book bag, shoes, everything. Gave it to you. You was happy. But it didn't matter, because even though I brought you that stuff, you didn't want me to leave. And I will never forget the way you cried. He was like, please don't leave me. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to leave you, and I love you. And I'm hugging you, and you were just not happy with that. And all of a sudden, your father pulls up. And when your father pulls up, he was like, hey, how did you know where I live? And I said, listen, I'm sorry. I just really wanted to see my son. Like, I'm really going through it. He's like, I know. I'm sorry you're going through it. And said, come around the corner. And gave me a hug. This man took me around the corner, away from the neighbors and anybody present, I guess, and gave me a hug and said, I'm sorry you're going through this. And I really appreciated that. And as I'm driving away with Reona, I get a call, because she ended up pulling up, your stepmother, and called me and said, oh, great, your aunt came and brought you all of this nice stuff. Good for you. Oh, your aunt loves you. Meanwhile, you're crying on the phone the whole time. Mommy, mommy. And she's like, oh yeah, your aunt got you all this stuff. She has brainwashed you since you were a baby that she's your mother. And I'm nothing and I'm a monster and don't trust me. She did that shit, bruh. If your own father could sit there, hug me around the corner, you know damn well I didn't do nothing to this family, bruh. I didn't do nothing but struggle and survive. Now, now that that has transpired, I literally told Darius, I said, hey, I think I might be going to Jersey because I don't have nowhere to go. I don't know what to do. And at this time, I'm still not in a happy place because even though I moved into this apartment, I'm still trying to figure out how to work. I'm still trying to figure out what to do because Lyft, when I was doing Lyft, I was going to the airport. I wasn't making enough for that apartment. I wasn't making enough to take care of Reona. I wasn't making enough to be able to have you. And then when I had you, have daycare for you so I could work or anything. I didn't have it. So I decided to say, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm going to have to sacrifice my situation and go and live in Florida right now. And that's what I did. I packed Rihanna and I up. I told your dad, hey, I'm going to move to Florida. And he was like, I don't believe you keep saying that, but you're not going anywhere. It's because I didn't want to, stupid. I didn't want to leave my son. But because I can't have him, obviously, if I even mention you, I'm always being told I'm the aunt. Oh, I can't do anything. Oh, you're a bad mom because you don't want to pull up. How the fuck am I pull up somewhere I don't know where I'm at? I pulled up again before I moved to Florida. And when I pulled up again, I made sure I had a camera because I knew how she is. And I pulled up and she answered the door. No, no, she can't see her son. No. The police officer said, why not? Because it's my house. I said so, and she's not around. Okay, but I'm here right now. I sat here and gave his fucking dumbass father a chance when he was sitting on my step around and homeless. But you swoop up and keep it in and take in a homeless nigga because why? Because you wanted to ruin my life? What was the whole purpose of you being with Darius? For me? Because to be honest with you, you being with Darius helped me for him to leave me the hell alone. One. And two, I never needed you, sweetheart. Just because you were there in his life, it takes a village. I would have been happy that you would have been happy to be there. You were only there for my son because you were trying to antagonize me, bro. You did not give a fuck about my son. And you want to know how I know? It's because that time when you sent me a picture with the AK-47 to his forehead, crying, sent it to my homeboy, threatening him to tell me to leave them alone. Or I'm going to do this to her son. And I sent that picture and showed it to the police officer. And he's like, oh, where does he live? I don't know. I had to find your ass, bro. I didn't know where you lived. I sent it to my lawyer. The person I was dealing with child support at first, I sent it to her and said, ma'am, like, this is a lot. Look what I got to do with. And she said, this is a lot. I'm going to remove myself from the case because this is too much drama. That's crazy. I didn't have nobody on my side, bro. So yes, I took myself to Florida, Darreon. Why? Because I had my daughter with nowhere to go. Anytime I wanted to get an apartment or anything, I couldn't. Why? Because I've been evicted before. When you become evicted, you don't get stuff on your own anymore. You're asked out. Unless you finesse your way through, or you have a roommate or something. So guess what? I didn't have neither. So I decided to move to Florida where my mom was. My mom. Not a friend, not a homeboy, not a nigga. I didn't live with any men to take care of you. I lived by myself, or I survived with living with adults or other people to make sure I was going to be okay so I can get to you. So I moved to Florida. When I got to Florida, I got back in school. I started working some more. I built my life up, graduated college. And then guess what? I decided to say, you know what? It has been 2 years. I need my son. I need my son. I need my son. Now that I'm okay, what's next? So I went to the courthouse and they said, okay, cool. But by the way, I'm not letting Darreon go to Florida with you. You said that like I'm a freaking monster. Why not? I just don't think that it's appropriate to allow your son to go with you in Florida. So you're going to have to move here if you want your son. No problem. And guess what I did? Every single month, like I was told, to come up there and visit you. And I did. Every single month, only 1 hour. 1 hour once a month, I would fly to Georgia from Florida to come and see you for an hour. And every time I came, I never came empty-handed. I brought you shoes, clothes, gifts, toys, whatever. Every time. I didn't have to bring you anything. But why did I bring you something? Because it seemed as if every time I came up there was around your birthday or Christmas or something where it was like I had to bring something. And I did. And even when it was nothing going on, I still brought you something because you said you liked it. I remember the time you told me you liked Lanky Box. And I was like, what the hell is a Lanky Box? But I still went around and looked for it and bought you something from Lanky Box. You get what I'm saying? I listened to take action for it because I knew that my time not being here with you was very, very traumatic. I know that you wasn't going to trust me. I didn't know what you were going to feel. Honestly, I was actually scared of the fact that you wouldn't even remember me or wanted me. But every time I seen you, you recognize me. You love this face. You wanted me, but you didn't feel comfortable because every time you see me, you knew I was going to leave. But that was the whole process of the fact of why I was struggling. I had to leave because if I stayed, I would have struggled with you. I would have had you with me in this shelter home and Reona. Or maybe not. I don't know what could have transpired differently, you know? But I'm just letting you know what happened. And I'm not angry with you. None of this is your fault. I am super happy that I have my son. I love you. And I can't wait to hug you and you hug me back and know that I have been wanting this hug for 8 years. 8 long years. So I also wanted to let you know that when I came to Georgia, you know, I was only able to see you still once a month, an hour. But they came to my house to check my house to make sure it was good. I had 2 bedrooms. Rihanna's room was so big that I was able to put probably about 6 bunk beds in that bed. I was able to put 6 bunk beds, and that's how big it was. Where you and her could have shared the room. I could have split it vividly, and could have had you on one side and she on the other side with your boys section looking all nice, her girls section looking all nice. Y'all would have shared a closet. There was 3 bathrooms. So no one was missing a beat, you know? Whatever. Then they checked the house, everything was fine, and they went to court and they were like, okay, we're going to go ahead and grant you with not him coming to your house yet, but with you having more time, like an hour outside of this visitation place. So I said, well, hey, just to keep it safe and to keep it neutral, let's start meeting up at the park. Because we used to meet up at the police station because your stepmother has scratched me in the face before. Publicly. Humiliated me and damaged my vehicle and then called the police and said that I did that. Even though I had the pictures, everything. She manipulated everything to make it look like I was the monster. Every time. And guess what? If I would have reacted any crazier than that, and then she would have, I would have been in trouble. Why? Because I am the sole party of this situation. If your dad would have acted crazy, he would have been in trouble because he is also the sole part of the situation. Because she had nothing to do with this. She could do almost whatever she wanted. She was a civilian on the street. Nothing to do with none of us. Whatever. So now, you know what year we're in, because COVID already happened. So we're in 2021 when I moved to Georgia. And this is all this time, from 2014, all of this time. It was so much that happened in between. But just to kind of give you the gist of only talking about you and you. The reason why I'm talking about me as well is because this is why I'm not with you. This is why you're not with me. Your parents. Every time It's your parents. So this is when I started to realize that why I'm not with you really didn't have nothing to do with your father. It was really your stepmother the whole time. Because when I said to him, hey, I want to help more. What can I do? And he was like, well, he needs a phone. I sent him $75 to buy you a phone. And you and I were able to communicate. However, every time you and I conversed on the phone, you had to put yourself on speaker, and I was being heard from everybody in the house. That was your brother, your sister, your stepdad. I mean your stepmom and your dad. Every time we talked. I never was able granted the privacy to talk to you by myself. I was never able to do anything. I never even, and I know why. They did that because they didn't want me to tell you the truth of them because they want to hang up. So moving forward, whether you believe it or not, Darreon, every time I called, she answered the phone. So I stopped calling because I was avoiding the drama with her. Now, if your dad answered the phone, that would have been a different story. Because the last time you and I spoke, when your dad was involved, he mentioned about an Xbox that you wanted. And I told him on the phone, yes, I would love to get an Xbox if you go in with me. Go half with me on it. So by Christmas time, you, Darreon, said you said you were going to get me an Xbox for my birthday, and I said I'm in for Christmas, and I said I did say that, but I also asked your dad for help, and he never helped me, and you stopped responding to me. I don't know if that was even you texting me or not, but my point is I asked for help. I didn't say no. I asked for help. So because of that, now we're going months without talking. So then when I text you again, I'm like, hey, how you doing? And you were like, hey, I don't feel comfortable talking to you. I don't trust you because every time you talk, you don't respond. You don't call me. You don't. Why would I keep calling a phone that doesn't want to talk to me? You have been brainwashed that I'm not your mother. You have been brainwashed that I'm the problem. You have been brainwashed to not want to talk to me. Why would I want to call if you don't want to talk to me? Why would I want to talk to anybody who doesn't want to talk to me? Why would I put myself in a position to be sad because my son is like, fuck you? I just gave you your space because I don't know what else to do. There's nothing I felt like I could do. At this point, they got you so round in that anything that you said made me sad because everything that you said was, I don't trust you. I don't feel comfortable talking to you. You make me feel like this. And I'm like, whoa, like now I'm over here crying my eyes out when all these years, every single court date, I have been in here trying to fight to see you every time, and every single time that lady, Charlene, every time has humiliated me, belittled me, made me feel like I was nothing, always talked about me, never cared about you. She never went in that court date talking about you. My mother went in that court date talking about you. I have emails of people sending them talking about you and how I was with you. Everybody knew that I was a good mother to you. Everybody knew that I was there with you. I never deceived you, Shawty, ever. So now moving forward, not only was she there at the court dates, she had every say so. It was almost like she had so much power that it was nothing I could do. So yes, you saw that we were meeting up at parks. Everything was fine. I was there on time. I have emails, I have pictures of me posting of when I made it, and I was on time every single visitation. The only time that I wasn't going to be on time was the time my grandmother passed away, which was July 5th. And I had to come from Florida on the 6th to meet you at the park. And I was a little bit late, and I wasn't that late. And I still made sure I grabbed you a bag with shoes, toys, activities for us to have a good time, even though you didn't know that I just lost our grandmother the other day. And I sent an email to Darius and her. Hey, I just lost my grandmother. I really feel like, I might be a little late. If not, then okay. I was like, 7 minutes late? Maybe not even that. Probably only 2 minutes late. But why am I documenting and being all extra, as people would say, is because I had to. Because if I didn't, they was your stepmother always made sure she's like, oh, well, she wasn't here. And every time she said that I was late, y'all were late. Every time. When I pulled up to the football game that you were playing for, and I bought you cleats that day, the same day you remember. I showed up, I was there on time, even though they told me the same morning, even though we always meet at the park from at 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. That's all the time I have with you. So from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, I got there in Stone Mountain to this park. And I got there at 11:44, shawty. And they told me at 10 o'clock. I made sure I made it there ASAP. I was there. As a matter of fact, I don't think she told me at 10 o'clock. She told me at 11 o'clock, and I made it there in 40 minutes. I was on point. And I got the video to prove it. You get what I'm saying? All right. So then I make it there. And then not only were y'all late again, y'all were so late that you were about to miss the game. And then when I'm there waiting, I'm like, okay, y'all made it. I'm like, hey, giving hugs. And she's all like, you ain't gonna help with nothing? I just bought her some cleats. Okay, but his tuition is $500. Okay, but y'all knew that when y'all put him in football. Y'all are together. You have an income. He has an income. I'm by myself every time, bro. I don't got no man taking care of me. When I was living in Georgia, that apartment was mine. Myself. Again, with Reona. No help. I got a wonderful job. And I'm outside at this football game caring only about you, and she's in my face with her makeup dripping, talking about $500. So I went up to the coach and said, do y'all need $500? He said, it's a donation, which means a donation means I don't have to. But at the end of the day, I donated by spending money at the cause at the event, which was your football game, Darreon, and got you some cleats, which was $70 damn. And that's not your fault. You should have had you some cleats, because the shoes that you had on, you also played football in. You also boxed in them. You also ran in them. They were not cleats. They were shoes. So I got you some fucking cleats. And guess what? That was probably the last time you played. Why? Because I bought you some cleats. The time that I bought you some boxing gloves and stuff because I knew you were boxing, that was the last time you boxed. They kept taking you away from me, bro. Every time. No matter what I decided to do. And not only did they show up late, I missed my personal hour with you. So when it was time to go, you end up just leaving. It was nothing I could do about that. I had to just leave. So guess what? After that, here comes our court date. Our court date. But our court date didn't come up that fast because the court date's coming up. But we had one more visitation. And that visitation, she said, oh, we're going to go over to the jumping place. Okay, cool. So you switched up the time again. Now I said, hey, well, since you telling me this the day of, you're going to have to give me some time to get there. I ended up going to get Reona. That was why I took so long, because I didn't have her with me. Every time you and I visit each other, it was just you and I, wasn't it? And her. She always had to sit there and be watching the whole time, bro. Like I'm just some evil person when she's the evil person, bro. I got to the jumping place with Reona, got in line and looking for you. And I saw her driving past late. She was late. Driving past, looking in the window, stupid as fuck. And yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm here. Yes. And I recorded it too. Oh God, I got that recording that she was there. And that we were there. So guess what? I'm calling, hey, are y'all hearing nothing? Texting nothing, email, nothing. I'm like, well, I'm leaving. There's no point in me being here. I came here because of Darreon. I didn't come here to have a good time with anybody else. I love my daughter to death, but that wasn't for her. That was for us. So I left. I went to Darreon's school to bring him a gift. And they said no. Charlene said no. His dad said, ask Charlene. He's putting everything in her hands. And because she said no, I got all these gifts. And then they were like, oh no, well, you can't leave it here either. You're going to have to take it back. I went to the courthouse the same day because this is crazy because I can't do anything. I can't do anything. And I didn't know where you live. I just found out what school you went to. Teasley Elementary. You didn't know I knew that. Why not? Because I do my research, shawty. I investigate for my child. I will do whatever it takes. And I almost went to jail behind you twice. Why? Because the first time I almost went to jail, I pulled up on live trying to make sure I can still see you. And she put trespassing on me. And told me I can't see you. And you were standing over there. The second time I almost went to jail behind you. When you asked me, have I almost went to jail? Yes, I almost went to jail, but I didn't go to jail, sweetheart. I'm going to tell you the truth. I went to a behavioral health center. Why did I go to a behavioral health center, a mental institute? It's because after that time when I was supposed to meet you at this bouncy house place or the trampoline place that y'all showed up to late, and I didn't get to see you, I ended up going to court. Now, mind you, I had my house looked at. I came to every visitation. I came to every virtual visitation. I came to the 1 hour visitations. I came to your football game. I came and brought you some gifts. I returned your gifts because I was told I wasn't going to do shit with it. So I took the money to get you something else when I sing you. But when I sing you, you were worried about the gifts and said, well, why would you give my gifts away? I gave them away because I would rather go with you to take you to the mall to get what you wanted. But I couldn't even get that out because why? You were so brainwashed to think that this person is telling you that I don't care about you when I do. I stopped sending money to your Cash App account because every time I sent money, I always had in the back of my head that they're using the money for what they wanted. I bought you shoes and then I get a text and you tried it on camera in front of our visitation lady and said they fit nice, they're good. You even walked outside with them. And then you got home apparently and she emailed me, which I have proof of, and saying that nothing fits, you don't like any of it. And she went to the Walmart that same day and bought you something from Walmart and put you on camera on YouTube and recorded you playing with the toys that she got you and threw my shit away. And you talking about you don't trust me? I have been doing everything for you. I moved back to Georgia, the place I hate the most, for you. I have went to my last court date, September 15th, 2022. And I sat in that court date and watched that judge look at me in the eye and say, you didn't do a bitch ass thing for your son. I saw that lady look at me and say, you ain't do a bitch ass thing for your son. I saw your dad sit here and say, oh, we need more time. She doesn't deserve it. How do I need more time for you when if I don't have the time with you, how can we get to know each other? Does that make sense? If you go to the school and you sit next to a kid in class every single day, you're going to get to know this person, aren't you? But if you sit with this person once a year, an hour, you think that's enough? That's what you need? You're going to feel like that's like a healthy relationship? No, you're going to, it's let's go. Let's go. We were on the phone before. You and I used to play Roblox together. This ain't nothing new. You know me, Darreon. Darius knows me. She doesn't. But because she's the way she is exactly why we're here today. She is evil. She has kept you from me for 8 years. I have been fighting to get you for 8 years. Another reason why is because as Reona is growing up, she reminds me so much of you. Y'all love the same thing. You were on TikTok talking about how you hate the drama at school and PE. And she sat there and watched it and said, damn, I feel you, bro. I get him. I understand my brother. I wish I was there to hug him and tell him, like, I understand, like, you're missing out on so much love that you're brainwashed to think that no one over here loves you, that we're weird, that we're not here for you. All because it's unfamiliar. And why is it unfamiliar? Because you were taken from me, bro. You don't understand that just because I allowed your father to hold you while I got myself together, he took her both of them took it like I gave you away. And guess what she did? She put it all in your dad's mind that I wasn't shit and took me to court and said I violated because I needed help. And the court didn't give a damn about what I was dealing with. They didn't care. They saw that I didn't show up to pick you up on Sunday. That's all they saw. They don't care if I was about to die that day. They don't care if I was being homeless. They don't care. It was the fact that I did not show up that day. So to them, it was like, oh, since you didn't show up, look like you don't want your child. And granted them custody. So now I have to do a visitation. Now I have to grow and see through the courts if I'm able to be in your life or you're able to be in mine. And on the last court date, September 15th, 2022, the judge, the guardian ad litem, your father, and that girl sat there and told me, I can't see you. And I don't know why. After everything we went through. And when your stepmother sat here and said, yeah, because she this and that, I said, excuse me, it's my time to talk. I sat there and was quiet while every single one of y'all in here spoke about me and lied on me. And the judge was like, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to need you to stop talking. And I said, sir, I'm just trying to explain because it's my turn to talk. Da-da-da-da. You know what? Get up. Just like that. Just like that. I never raised my voice. I never cursed. I never interrupted the judge. I was interrupted. And I was trying to correct her for interrupting me and me correcting your stepmother for interrupting me while I was speaking on you. Not about her, not about them, not about nothing. I said, sir, I don't even care about what they got to say, what anybody has to say. I'm here for my son. So what do we move forward? And she started coming at me. So I say, hey, stop talking. It's my turn to talk. And the judge is now trying to correct me for talking. That made no sense. It makes me feel like I have no hope. I had no hope in that courtroom. I knew it. I literally said like I was in front of the devil. So guess what? The police officer picked me up, Darreon, and said, yeah, you're going to have to get out of here because it seems as if you're interrupting the courtroom when it was my turn to talk. So he pushes me against the door. And then has me in handcuffs and telling me that you got to remain silent. And took me downstairs and told me to take my shoes off and go sit in a cell until the judge was ready to talk to me. And guess what? I'm in a court date while my daughter's in school. I'm thinking about her. I'm thinking about, oh, well, damn, I'm down here and who's going to take care of my child? So I immediately asked for a phone call and called my brother, and he went and got my daughter from school. Why? Because guess what? The officer came over to me and said, hey, by the way, you're going to be in here for 30 days until a court date. They were trying to hold me in jail for 30 days for absolutely nothing. I didn't spit on nobody. I didn't hurt nobody. I didn't curse nobody. I didn't yell. I was in there because he felt like he wanted to. He wanted to do that to me. That's what the judge, that's what I felt, right? So guess what I started to do? What do you think I did? I cried my eyes out. I cried. I screamed and I was upset because not only am I not winning this situation at all, I'm also not going to have my daughter for whatever reason this is. And I just had a puppy that I wanted you to meet. And I can't have him or her because why? I'm going to be gone for 30 days and there's no one else at the house. Also, what else happened? Yeah, I'm going to be now losing my job? Now I'm back to square one again. Nowhere to go, right? I'm freaking out. So finally, as I'm freaking out, the cop comes in and says, "Ma'am, please, I need you to come with us." And I was freaking out so bad that they didn't know how to get me under control. So they put me in control and restrained me and put me in a seat and rolled me all the way back upstairs to the courthouse in front of the judge. Your dad and your stepmother were not there anymore. It was just me looking humiliated. And the judge had the nerve to sit there and say, I wasn't going to send you to jail. I was actually going to just have you sit there for a moment until this was over to talk to you. I wasn't going to send you to jail. And that broke my heart because the cop came down and said that he was. So that's why I freaked out. So because I freaked out from him saying he was going to take me to jail, he said, well, because you freaked out, we feel like your mental is more important. And then they took me into a handcuffs in the back of an ambulance and handcuffed me to the bed in the hospital and said, you have to take a COVID test before you leave here. I didn't want to take one because I never had COVID and I was scared of it. And they took me to a behavioral health center. And I was in the behavioral health center for 11 days involuntarily. I could not leave. They treated me like I was a prisoner. They treated me like I was a suicidal person. All because I was crying for you. So finally, when I come out of there, I am now labeled a 1013. So I am considered a spazzer in the system, Darreon. So if anytime some of the police calls on me, they're going to want to know if I'm okay mentally, because apparently I spazzed out so bad, I looked crazy. Because the judge sat there and told me he was going to take 30 days away from me, my daughter, and you. Meanwhile, your parents are laughing and happy about it, trying to see if I got locked up. I never got locked up, son. I was held into a mental hospital because they thought that I was wrong for crying, for being over upset about not having my son. So when I proceed to allow time to go by and then I finally text you and I reach out to you, and the only thing I hear from you is you don't trust me and that you don't want to be around me because you're uncomfortable, and asking did I go to jail and why didn't I get you a present and why didn't I buy you this and that and the third. Sweetheart, it has nothing to do with money at this point. Why does money matter? If money matters that much to you, that means you're not getting it at home. Which means that if you were with me, you would have been had all of these things. Anything Rihanna has ever wanted, if you saw her birthdays videos that I posted, she got everything she wanted every year. And I could have done that times two because you would have been here. And even though you weren't here, I still did that. I would still buy you shoes. I would invest in your curricular activities like sports and your Linky box, or you like to stream, play video games. I was very, very in tune with that with you. So I asked my parents to reach out to you. My mom came and dropped the box at your door for Christmas. And I guarantee you probably didn't even get that. And if you did, then that should show you that we are trying our best to get you to be in our lives. My mom is trying her best. She has also had the police officer come to y'all house with a served warrant so that way we can now have rights through her to see you. That way she will come pick you up, and then I and you and I and her and Reona can all hang out. That's what we were trying to do. No one is trying to make you do anything. No one is trying to make you feel like a baby. No one is trying to make you feel like you're not a human or a product. You are a beautiful, handsome man, and you're my son. I breastfed you. I taught you. I potty trained you. And just because I was going through some things doesn't mean that you were not important to me. You were so important. I didn't want you to have to deal with my situation. So I did the only thing I thought was the smartest thing, was to let you go with your dad. And that was the worst thing I've ever done. I made a huge ass mistake trusting your father, honestly. Someone that abused me. And abused you. And as a matter of fact, when you were a baby, you had a big ass scrape on your arm. Big ass scrape. And when I picked you up, he said, oh, he just fell off the slide. And I looked at that shit and I was like, that's a burn. That ain't no slide. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, I went immediately to the doctor. Went to the doctor. And when I went there, the doctor said, oh, you're here for that? She said, that looks like a burn. I said, yes, that's what I said. She said, well, listen, you should just get you some aloe gel and put it on there. It's going to clear it up. I didn't even see a doctor. She just told me that in the intake part. And I was like, all right, bet. So I went straight to the place and got that, and I was putting it on. And I was putting it on every day, and man, it was clearing up so fast. Like your skin was covering that that your dark skin was covering that white patch. It was like coming back. And I was sitting with Rihanna's family at the time, and you were with us. Like I said, you were being potty trained. You were about 3, 4, and she was like, "What happened?" I said, "Man, he talking about Darius talking about it was a burn that he happened at the park." She was like, "That don't look like no burn. I mean, no scrape. That look like a burn." And I said, "That's what I said." And then on everything I love, Darreon, the Money Clark, you said at your mouth, "My daddy did it." And when I tell you, I cried my eyes out. I'm pregnant. So Reona wasn't even here. I was pregnant. I was crying. Like, what? I took pictures. I recorded you saying it just so I can have it, because recording was the biggest thing back then. That was the only proof I could have. And I never coached you either. You said it out your own mouth and said, "Daddy did it." And guess what? I was told at that point to calm down, because you can be too young. You might say anything. I was told kids say all kind of stuff. Just relax, Ziana. He probably didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry, but I didn't like that. I didn't like hearing that happened. So I decided to keep you from him, knowing it was his turn to have you for the week. And I said, hell no, he's not going back with you. And he took me to court for that. And the police came all outside and said if I did not give you back to him, it was a problem. So I'm crying. But when I let you down, you ran to your dad because you love your dad. And I had no choice but to just let it go. Even though you said that, even though I've seen him abuse you, even though he's abused me, even though that your stepmother has tormented me since I met her, and that has been, what, 11 years now? I'm not making this video to make you sad. I'm not making this video to make you mad or push you further away from me. But I have gave up on the government system to help me get to you. I don't believe that anyone cares enough for me to be with you other than me and my family and Reona. So if I'm too emotional right now and it's scaring you, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that this is the way that I have to communicate with you. I'm sorry for broadcasting it out to the world like this, but there's nothing else I could do. So I'm willing to allow you to see this one day. So when you see this, you know that there is way more to this story, sweetheart. And know that you have been told you can't see your grandparent. You've been told you can't go see your grandparent. And because you didn't, she's died already. You never even met your grandmother. Everybody's talking about you. Everybody loves you. Meanwhile, you're somewhere, I don't know. I don't know. I have to figure it out every time. I have to stalk, pretty much, investigate to find out where you live. Now that I know where you live, I just can't go over there, because if I do, I know that I'm going to be called the police on. So why would I put myself in that position? I love you so much, but I love myself more to make sure I don't go to jail behind nothing stupid like your stepmother. It is what it is. Now, if she wants to go ahead and sue me for talking about her, I have all the receipts, sweetheart, that you have antagonized me, disrespected me, threatened my child, threatened Darius, threatened everybody in my family, also belittled me, humiliated me publicly and on the phone here, and also has definitely made me feel like I am nothing but an aunt or nothing in my son's life. The next podcast I'm going to talk about is the monster. And the monster is your dad and your stepmother. They are true monsters living in this earth right now. And they are and she is tormenting every single person in your father's life. Every single person in her life. She looked at me and hated me the moment she met me because of how she met me. I feel like if I would have came in the house and she was in the bed, I hope things would have been a little different. But the problem is Darius has talked so much shit about me. She never liked me before she even seen me. That's the problem. It all started with your father at the end of the day because I didn't want to be with him. I escaped your father. So, this whole entire video is just for you. So you can understand. The next one has nothing to do with you. It's just the shit I dealt with before and while pregnant with you, with your dad, and why we're here today. You get this type of dad right now, but the type of dad I got while you were in my tummy, nothing like it. And I have the pictures and videos to prove it again. And I have the domestic violence reports. I also have the videos of me getting scratched up and disrespected and hurt and humiliated, and the way your house looked when you were living with him, trashy. Yeah. So I just want to leave on this note and say happy birthday. I love you. I will always love you, no matter if you're mad at me or not, Darreon. I can't wait till you grow up and want to hug me. And that song, Kwani Cash, My Son, dedicates to you. Every time I hear it, I cry. I can't even sing it because it reminds me of you. There's a part in that song when it says, my love, my blood. You're the only one that I trust. I can't wait till you grow up. I'm going to teach you about these streets. Do not grow up like me. I had to go through some things. And when you came, I changed. I tried to switch my ways, but now we're back into this place. And your father, he gave me drama, even though I loved him though. And your sister and your future brothers, I got them too. I will never leave your side, cross my heart and hope to die. And you got my eyes too, and I'd be damned if I denied you, shawty. I love you so much, Darreon. I love you. 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 And I know this sounds crazy, me talking to a screen, but I'm not, because I know I'm talking to you. I know. This is all I can do.